a beautiful day it is just to be who you are, right? To be so satisfied with who you are that you want other people to be who they are. There's something so pure about being confident about who God has designed you to be. There's something so rich that comes with being certain about who you are. Welcome to this episode of Filled Up Friday. I'm Santa Marie. I am your hostess with the mostest, which I'm bringing to you an amazing word, a word that is going to fill you up not only for your weekend, but for your life. This is The Vessel, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to The Vessel if this is your first time here. If not, tune in for this episode. The word that we are bringing to you guys is the word purity. This word is so powerful. And you know, here at The Vessel, we believe that words not only have power, words, they are power. They are power. They fill us up. When we utilize the power of our words the way that God has intended it, it brings so much fullness to our lives. It empowers us. It impacts us. It helps us make our choices and our decisions, and we can lead a divinely led life. And so that's what this is all about. So let's take a look and see what this word purity is bringing to us. You ready? Purity is a being pure, freedom from adulterating matter, cleanliness, freedom from sin, chastity. Only take a look at the word, but here at The Vessel, we like to look at the word that comes before our actual word and the word that comes after. So let's take a look at the word that comes before the word purity. Puritan, a member of a group in the 16th and 17th century England and America that wanted to make the Church of England simpler in its forms and stricter in morality. This was so peculiar. You know, I'm always confident that God will give us some great revelation, but sometimes I'm like, how do these words even fit to what God is bringing to us? But I believe since we're in such a time where our moral compasses are being questioned, are being evaluated, I truly believe that this word is power-packed for us to take away for today. The word that comes after purity is pural. Pural. The definition for pural is to move in ripples or with a murmur. Now, we've been talking about the sound for at least almost a year here at The Vessel. And so let's tune in really closely. The sound of purling water. It also means to invert something while knitting. While knitting. Let's break this down. Purity, it says freedom from adulterating matter. Let's take a deeper look at that word adulterating. What is the word adulterating adding to what we need to know for today? This is key to our year, I truly believe. Adulterating means to corrupt, debase, or make impure by the adding of a foreign or interior substance of an element, especially to prepare for sale, by replacing something with more value with something of lesser value, or inert ingredients. That's deep. Some synonyms for the word adulterating is the diluting, polluting, infecting, poisoning, manipulating, dirtying, degrading, counterfeiting, soiling, and the misrepresenting of a thing. Come on. This word is bringing us some revelation. Let's gear our ears and our hearts to be able to see what the word is bringing to us. Now, here's some antonyms just for context. Antonyms is the opposite of what a word means, for those of you who might have been like, oh, I forget, And the antonyms for adulterating, the enriching, strengthening, fortifying, pasteurizing, cleansing, and flushing of a thing. Now, this is deep because we hosted a community meeting last night. And one of the main things that we were speaking about was how that this year that we have deemed the year of greater grace was about us being fortified. Fortified. So I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that this word has come to bring us some profound wisdom that we are to share with all of you. Let's go back to the Puritans. I want to give you a little bit of context about exactly who the Puritans were. We know that they were a group of religious individuals from the 16th and 17th century. Puritanism is a religious movement. It was a group of individuals who were early Protestants who wanted to purify the way religion was being practiced in their land. Their beliefs were that one was to obtain a spirit of moral and religious fervency. That purity should not only just be something that people should do, but it should be a way of life. They contributed to the founding of the 13 colonies here in America. And something familiar would be that William Penn, who founded Pennsylvania, he was responsible for bringing the culture of the Puritans to Pennsylvania. Not going to understand what the wisdom of the word is trying to sum up and bring to us, but let's keep going. That's about the Puritans. Now let's take a look at that word pure. We need a little bit more context for the word pure. The word pure, remember, comes after the word purity. We always look at the word that comes before and the word that comes after. The definition for pure meant to move in ripples, the sound of purling water. And here's what we're going to look at: to invert something while knitting, to invert the stitching while knitting. When you knit something, just like we knit our lives, just like we knit our futures, or God knits our futures, and we work in tandem with what God has ordained for our lives, with our choices and our decisions. This word invert, what makes something an inverted knitting? An inverted seam is easily identifiable by the pinched look of a raised seam. Easily identifiable by a pinched look of a raised seam. That means that an inverted knitting is sewn together so much so that it stands out. It's raised. It looks different. It's not able to be hidden, but it stands out. Now, why is this so important? Because to be called as a vessel, right? When you live your life as a vessel, you are called out. You are raised up. You are different from everyone else because you are living a more pure and genuine life. Let's remember that. Let's stay right there with it. An overall effect of an inverted seam is a crisp and tailored effect as the borders are very clearly defined. Clearly defined is something that's important for us to remember. So keep that in your mind. That an inverted seam is just like a pure life. That is something that stands out. It is something that's easily identifiable and it is clearly defined. You know, when you live a pure life, right? When I say pure, I don't mean perfect. When I say pure, it means that you try to live by a certain set of standards that garnish you a sure outcome for your life, a fortified life, right? That's a choice, and that's a decision to be raised, to be set apart, to have a standard that supersedes everyone else and everything else. That's the life of a vessel. To be clearly defined. When you make a stand and you make a choice to be clearly defined, to have strong morals, right? It's really hard for people to get over on you. It's really hard for people to misunderstand you. They know right off the bat what you're about, what you go for and what you don't go for. There's no cloudiness when you stand for something. The saying says you stand for something or you fall for everything. There's no in between. And I believe that this is a part of what the wisdom of this word is bringing to us on today. But let's keep going. An inverted scene is bringing us, that word inverted is really important, which comes from the word pure. Let's not lose sight that our word is purity for sure. But this word inverted has brought us more context that we need. For something to be inverted would be for something to be turned inward. You know, our slogan here at the Vessel is building our lives from the what? The inside out. There's a reason why one would find it beneficial to build their lives from the inside out. Why would it be beneficial for one to build themselves or their lives from the inside out? Well, let's keep tracking. An inversion, this is so profound to what I just said. An inversion is a depiction from the normal effect of altitude on a meteorological property, especially an atmospheric condition in which the air temperature rises with increased altitude. A layer of air that is warmer than the air below it is called an inversion layer. Such a layer traps the surface in place and prevents dispersion of any pollutants it contains. And let's stop right there. Did you understand what the wisdom of the word is bringing to us? That an inversion or an inversion layer is so powerful that the normal effect of an altitude on a meteorological property, that can be you, especially in an atmospheric condition in which the air rises with increased altitude. A layer of air that is warmer than the air below it is called an inversion layer. What's the significance of this being a warmer layer than the air below it? Because the warmer air traps the surface in place and prevents dispersion of any pollutants it contains. The wisdom of the word today is bringing us a message about how we fortify ourselves and our lives, how we position ourselves and our lives to keep all the negativity, as much negativity and as much perversion, as much polluting, infecting, and poisoning, manipulating out of our lives as possible. This is about strengthening, enriching, pasteurizing, cleansing, and fortifying ourselves and our lives, our futures. If you want to fortify your future, then purity is the way. Purity is the way. That's what this word is bringing to us on today. But let's dig a little bit deeper because this word is multifaceted. It is bringing us several different things that we want to take a look at today. Let's take a minute to speak to our younger people. Do you understand how valuable and how important it is to be raised out, set apart from all the chaos that's happening within the young culture today? How to operate by a certain set of standards in purity, more in alignment for how you were designed to live, sets up a certain amount of fortification, meaning protection over your life. That's huge. I want you to take a minute and think about all the places within your young life that you need to fortify or purify so that there is a barrier, as the word inversion said, that shuts out all pollutants. All pollutants. See, we have so much more power within our lives than we actually know to set our paths a certain way. And this word is bringing us some wisdom on today that there is a certain level of purity that serves as a protection in our lives. This is the wisdom of the word on today. But I want us to shift just a little bit. I want us to take a look at that word ripple, that the word pural has to do with a rippling effect. We know that a rippling effect has to do with an action and then a reaction from that first initial action. And so the word ripple means to flow in small waves, just like the culture. The culture is all about the waves, right? The surface. This word ripple, I've been hearing this word so much, and we've been speaking about something that's called the wealth transfer. And I'm speaking this way because I'm aware that there are individuals in our community that are not necessarily familiar with some of the things that we are speaking about. So there is a wealth transfer a lot of people are speaking about. And this word ripple is coming to bring us hidden wisdom within it. So this word ripple, there is a currency called XRP, Ripple XRP. It is said to be a position for wealth transfer. So I want us to take a look at that because it's important for us to be positioned not just for a spiritual elevation in our lives, but also for every elevation that's meant for us in our lives. Whether that's financial or spiritual, it's important. So here's the bit about the Ripple's XRP. That the wealth transfer, many believe, will come through the cryptocurrency transfer that's taking place within our economical system. So I want to give us some context for how this all makes sense with the wisdom that the word is bringing to us on today. So I want us to take a look at a scripture for context. We're going to go to John 5 so that we can have context for how the wisdom is just bringing it all in. This is a scripture that is about the pool of Bethesda. This is a healing pool. And as we've been talking about purifying, we're talking about ripple waves, we're talking about cleanliness, healing. That's what the wisdom of the word is bringing to us on today. So let's just bring it all together. So I'm going to begin to read the scripture. And for those of you who are not familiar, this is the book of John, the 5th chapter. Okay? So it says, sometime later, Jesus went up to Jerusalem for one of the Jewish festivals. Now there is in Jerusalem near the sheep gate a pool, which in Aramaic or Hebrew is called Bethesda, and which is surrounded by 5 covered pools. Here a great number of disabled individuals, impotent people, used to lie. The blind, the lame, and the paralyzed. One who was there had been an invalid for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and learned that he had been in this condition for a long time, he asked him, "Do you want to get well?" The man said, "Sir, I have no one to help me into the pool when the water is stirred. While I am trying to get in, someone else gets in before me." Then Jesus said to him, "Get up, pick up your mat and walk." And at once the man was cured, and he picked up his mat and he walked. Now let's connect the wisdom of the word and what it's bringing to us. This man was impotent. And what was so special about this pool of Bethesda is that this pool, an angel would come down from heaven every so often within a particular season of time. As we have been talking about, grace equals time and space. This is another example of what greater grace looks like. That grace equals time and space, that sometimes there is a time and a space that we ought to be in order to receive our healing, in order to receive our blessings, in order to receive our freedom. that there is a time and space that we ought to be in. So this particular gentleman said that he had no one to put him inside the water because he couldn't move himself. And so someone else would get into the water after the angel stirred the water. Now, I want you to understand that an angel coming down from heaven to stir the water was an angel creating what? A frequency, just like the ripple is presenting. Remember, the ripple is about a wave that happens on the surface. Remembering that our word is purity. Stay with me because this is all connecting and making a point. Bethesda means house of mercy. It is a pool with 5 porches, and it was close to the marketplace or the sheep's gate. The word of Bethesda comes from 2 elements. The word house, which means a realm of authority of the house of Father. And good and kind, which means loving kindness or allegiance in a legally binding way. So this word Bethesda is showing us about authority and about covenant, just as we've been speaking about within the from the purity and the Puritans. This is all connecting, so stay with me. It's going to make sense. The pool of Bethesda was called a reservoir. Now, what's a reservoir? A reservoir is a place where something sacred is kept, or a water supply, or some type of supply, an abundance, an overflow. It says, may be made to control a water course that drains an existing body of water to form an embayment within it. Meaning it's a body of water that's being fed from a larger body of water, or a storage place, a reservoir. Now, what does this have to do with currency? Because money is considered a currency, just like the current of water that flows. So this has to do with restoration. Because restoration is not just about restoration, over our health and over impotency. Has to do with a physical lack of some sort, whether that is financially, whether that is health-wise, whether that is with, internal. Being impotent has to do with a lack of strength. And so the wisdom of this word has come to bring us some profound wisdom, that there is a purity, a level of purity and a cleansing of our atmosphere, I believe, that is going to bring a certain level of restoration and healing, and maybe even wealth and empowerment to many of our lives. Now, how does this scripture really showed us something? The gentleman was trying to get into the pool, the frequency of the water, which we can see as all of the fuss that's going on with the cryptocurrency. I believe that is a huge part of this wealth transfer that is going to be taking place. But I also believe that this word has come to share and show us something else. The gentleman never got into the water, and yet he was healed by Jesus. In fact, Jesus didn't even touch the man. The man was healed when Jesus asked him if he wanted to be made whole, and told the gentleman to pick up his bed and walk. Be made whole. Pick up your bed and walk. There is an empowerment, even a financial empowerment, that is coming to us, where God will do for us what we cannot do for ourselves. This is not me in any way saying do not invest in the Ripple XRP, because I feel like this word has come to bring us that knowledge as well. But I also want us to understand that I believe that the wisdom of this word has come to show us that there is a level of restoration and healing and empowerment by things that have nothing to do with our strength and nothing to do with our own authority, but everything to do with our ability to want to live a pure life and our desire to be made whole. This is the wisdom of the word on today, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to take this word back, and I want you to look at your life and evaluate, are you fortified? But I also want you to look into that cryptocurrency as well and take heed, because I believe this is also about positioning ourselves for a blessing. Those of you who say, well, I don't have anything to invest, I can't afford to invest. I want you to understand that when we are in the place of Bethesda that has to do with the Father and has to do with the covenant, that even when we don't have, even when we can't do, that there is an inheritance and there are provisions that are going to be made for us. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what the wisdom of the word has brought to us today. This has been a lot. I have tried my best to bring to you what the Spirit was sharing with me and give it to you. As I always say, take this word, meditate on this word, pray over this word, think on this word, share this word. This word has come to bring some profound wisdom to you and I. Until next time, peace.